weeks back, maybe 1 or 2 weeks back, I was in a slump. I spent the previous several weeks just staying in bed or like just, eating and going to bed and things like that. And one day I just got up and I did my laundry. I was tired, but like I just decided to clean my room. I mopped all of the floors and hung up my clothes to dry, and then I took a shower. I think I worked out. I can't remember. But yeah, like I did a couple of things. Like I did a few things that I hadn't been able to do for like several months. And I was pretty proud of myself for that. I mean, there was still a lot of stuff to be done, but that day I was pretty proud of myself for doing all of those things. So, yeah.
Lately, I don't think I have done anything which I am very proud of, but yeah, I felt good when I met a friend after a very long time 2 days back. So yeah, that was very good. So that's all.
I was handling a client who had schizoid personality disorder, and initially it was very hard for me to form rapport with him, so much so that he would throw the PAT card and he would become very dominating and aggressive. But with time, when I interacted with him, communicated, and started with anger management with him, he mellowed down. He started interacting. He was initially not even asking about people, how are they and all. Now he's asking people, taking initiative to interact with them, which is a very very huge step for me personally. And I think I did a kind of okay job with him.
This is around when I was in 8th grade and or maybe ninth grade. Yeah. So there was this exam called PSA, and that happened for our batch. We were the first batch to have that, and fairly common exam by CBSE, and it was supposed to test, I think, all round development or something of the students. And I have been a studious student all my life, and of course, when any exam comes, you prepare for it. Give it in good hopes and expect कि चलो ठीक है, you'll be maybe in top 10 or something like that, and you expect something out of yourself given that you worked for it. Maybe not hard, but you did work for it. And all of us gave the exam, and I was expecting it. Okay, maybe the grading system was a little potched up, but okay. And the results came in, and this directly impacted the ninth GPM. I mean, we used to be really competitive, right? And I was the second last in the entire section. So basically, I was searching from the top, found myself at the down, and I think that was one of my first defeats or failures, you could say, wherein I worked on something, but that didn't turn out as well as I hoped. Honestly, it didn't turn out to be anything. And that day I realized why after years sad sleep is very important, because I remember after seeing the result, we inquired and argued about how the marking system works and how this could happen, etc. etc. I just couldn't believe myself that what have I done kind of feeling, losing self confidence and things like that. Although it was a very small test, but the entire idea that's something that you work for and it can fail kind of bothered me. I remember I went back, I slept, I somewhat cried, and and then I woke up, and lucky for me, CBSE announced an improvement PSA for the 10th graders. So people who didn't get a good score could give it. Given that, we'll take the best out of two. Sorry, we will take the 10th one. If you give the 10th improvement one, we'll take that score and not the ninth one. For me, it was nothing can be worse than that, so why not give it a try? And the next time I studied for it, or maybe I worked for it, but I didn't let it bother me. Or to be very honest, I didn't even think about it. I was trying to be myself more than anything and focus on what I know rather than focusing on what I should know. And given the last year's experience, I was totally not thinking about scoring well or something, because when you're second last, of course the idea becomes to come in the middle and then maybe go to the top. And I remember I was taking classes in Fiji, which gives JE coaching. I'm studying for PSA there from the maths prof, and eventually I gave that exam. And the results came out again in 10th grade, and this time I was second from the top, or I think first, maybe in the entire section. I think that was the feeling. That was one of the feelings. I think my first feeling wherein I was so let down by myself, but at the same time I pulled myself up to be on the top. I don't know if that was a proud feeling per se, but I was genuinely happy. That made me realize ki boss, you'll fail and that's okay, but what matters is how and when you pull yourself up. So it's the quote from Batman, why do we fall, sir? So that we can stand up. So it was more like that. And yeah.
It would have to be that one time. I think it was around my first or second semester. I had basically procrastinated and not studied for this one. I think it was my first paper. So anyway, so I was sleeping during the day and studying, trying to study all night. And I remember waking up at 10:30 p.m. or so, and the exam was at 9 a.m. late that day, like the next day. So basically, I would have to stay awake the entire night and study for that particular paper. I think it was something strength of materials thing. Lots of calculations, lots of numericals that I would have to practice. Like it would take a shit ton of time, at least like 10 12 hours. And thing was, if I did not pass that paper, I was like, this would basically be the end of my academic career. It would like I would basically end up a hobo, and all the fatalism, everything was going on in my head, and I feel like it was kind of the lowest point of my life because I hadn't been getting used to college life very well. Like doing everything by myself was a huge deal for me. Like you don't get used to the loneliness as quickly as you should be able to. Anyway, that so yeah, at 10:30 I was just walking through my hostel, and I was thinking to myself ki I could jump down from this window on the gallery, or I could do the harder thing and go back and finish that fucking 5 6 chapters or whatever. And I did it. I studied the entire night. I somehow finished that fucking thing and I got a D in that subject. But like I passed. And everything else was an A and B, so like it wasn't that much of a deal. But like there's a sense of having conquered yourself that comes with it. And I feel like that's the one time I felt really proud of myself, I guess, because it told me that I could achieve more than I could think I could achieve. And I haven't really been able to replicate that feeling ever again. But sometimes when I've been procrastinating and then I just decide to finish my work and then I do, there's an echo of that again and again, and it sort of tells me ki yeah, like I have something in me that is able to achieve, can achieve great things if I just set my mind to it.